So Bert, tell me some more about executing this novel approach. Kind of tell me about what you've learned, kind of maybe the problems or issues that you ran into trying to deliver training and education in this format, what you learned from it, how's it working now, the kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly of going this route.
Well, first of all, one of the problems that I see in people trying to go into an area that's unknown is they're afraid of failure. And so what we do is our approach has always been we call everything a pilot because a pilot gives us a license to fail. If it fails, we're just piloting it and we're testing this out. How do you know that something's going to work until you try it? How do you know this not going to work until you try it? So we keep trying things and seeing if they work. If they work, we'll repeat it. If it doesn't work, we'll try something different. But that's an approach that we need to incorporate into the educational system, trying different things. Also understanding that teachers are skilled professionals, so they should be treated that way. Every time you take away some degree of discretion from a teacher, you're taking away some of their professionalism. If you keep doing that to a professional and taking away discretion, you are going to lose your teachers. And so we give a lot of latitude, a lot of discretion to our instructors. We give them parameters and say, okay, stay within these parameters and become an effective teacher and focus in on that. That is critical for us.
That's outstanding. Have you found that having no grades um, has been a motivator or something that you have to manage with your students? How does that work?
Well, one of the things that we did here that was different from a lot of the organizations that are tuition based, if you take a class from us and you pay for that class and you don't pass the class for whatever reason, maybe it could have been a transportation issue. You couldn't come to class because your vehicle broke down. Or maybe because your work schedule changed and you had to miss classes because you had to work overtime. Or maybe you got sick and you weren't able to make it to class. Or even worse, there's a death in the family. We're saying if those occur, take care of that priority first. When it's over, come back and pick up your classes where your other former classmates are at and continue that education. And those areas that you've missed, when we cycle back around again, you take those classes. And if you don't pass a class for whatever reason in our program, you take that class at no additional cost. It forces us to focus on making
Wow.
sure that learning has occurred versus taking people's money.
Wow, that is very much a different kind of approach. You basically take the class over until you pass it. Do you find that your students really appreciate this approach to learning?
They haven't said that, but we have, and not many people have to retake it. But when they do, and it's basically an experience that I had before. If you look at my transcripts of college, I didn't pass all my classes the first time, but I wanted to graduate, so I had to take them again and had to pay a second time. And that bitter taste in my mouth from having to pay for a same class twice, I had
Hmm.
an opportunity here to say, wait a second, we're not doing that type of mistake.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wow, that's great. That's great. So, can you tell me about how much does it cost for somebody to attend the Trades Academy, and what does your registration and um, maybe financial aid or anything like that associated with it? Can you tell me about those things?
Well, we priced our classes roughly about 5 hours a week. First, that's how we're scheduling them, and it roughly costs about $80 for that 5 hours of instruction a week. But the entire program costs less than $15,000 for a 4-year program.
How about financial aid and for those who can't afford even that very reasonable price?
Well, there are some programs out there. Every once in a while, somebody will come to us and donate some cash to us. And the first thing we ask is, can we use it for scholarships? And we use it to fund people that are falling between the cracks of other programs. Maybe they can't afford the classes. Maybe they can't afford some of the other programs out there that are such as the apprenticeship program. Maybe they're not interested in that. So we use that. In fact, Contractor Association this month is giving out $15,000, $16,000 worth of scholarships for us.
That's outstanding, Bert. That is absolutely outstanding. All right, next question. You talked about pilot and experimentation in terms of
Mhm.
rolling out different classes. What kind of classes do you see you need to roll out in terms of like maybe focusing on new areas like maybe AI or 3D printing or IoT or robotics or data science or the list goes on and on. Do you have anything right now that's on your radar scope that you want to start experimenting with?
Well, we're already doing that. We scheduled starting April 22nd. We're going to have our first diesel mechanic program. And again, this is a pilot. This has been 2 years in the making of putting it together. The class is already full before we started.
Mm.
But if you want to know what else is out on the horizon, that list is endless. I don't think we have enough time for that. You were asking whether I had a stop date here as far as time. You can be here till Saturday talking about all the things that we could be doing. And so we have to actually pick and choose. And we strategically pick and choose what we want to get into. And we look at things that how big of a demand it is, what are the chances of success, whether we have the resources for that, whether we have the capacity for that. And all of those are taken into consideration before we develop new programs. But some of the stuff that we're looking at right now is fiber optics. The curriculum that we use
Mm.
is developing a program in fiber optics. It was supposed to be released last year, but it hasn't come out yet. So it's still under development. I'm looking for curricula on water technology so that we can train operators not only to pass a written test, but also a physical test and be knowledgeable about making decisions on the water system. I came from
Yeah,
waterworks and
yeah.
and the training in that area, the training resources was limited. Other things that we've looked at, we've been approached by helping an aeronautics program out here, pilot training, flight attendant training, RAM personnel. And I'm going, we can't do that type of stuff. That's way out of our scope. But what we can do is show you our business model, and we'll show you how to start a program like that.
Outstanding, outstanding. Can you talk a little bit more about the diesel mechanic program? Because I have a little bit of background knowledge on it, and I think it was pretty innovative the way that you all responded to that and how you got that off and running. So, can you tell the audience a little bit about the background associated with that course and how you all executed on that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we use primarily the NCCR curricula, and NCCR does not have a program of diesel mechanic. They have heavy equipment operators classes, and they also have power generation, which is very close to the diesel program, but they don't have anything specific for diesel engines, specifically vehicles. And so we sat together with a couple of instructors and figured out a text. We had a textbook that we selected earlier, and they decided that wasn't appropriate, that we needed a different textbook. So we got a different textbook, and we put the program together to start around October last year. Then we got wind that the textbook that we had selected, a new edition was going to come out in November. And so we waited for that. And so the new edition is out. Our books are in already. They just arrived this last couple of days, so we have the books. We sat down with the instructors. We're sitting down with potential employers, and we're basically filling the first class of 15 people with apprentices, and then creating a waiting list of people that want to come in. But we're fortunate that we've got two very experienced mechanics that are now certified to teach classes, taking on this challenge. The other challenge is being able to keep that instructor on island. Both of them have travel plans. And so we're going to be doing something a little bit different in that these guys will team teach a class, which is new to us. And we'll see how well that works. And they communicate with each other very well. And if one can't make it to class, the other one will be in class and we'll run those classes. One of the things about our program here is we have no substitute teachers. If a class instructor can't make it for a class, he notifies their students, we don't have class that night, and we extend the class at the end of the course day so that they still get the coverage on that. And so we're in constant communication between our instructors and our students because they're all, for the most part, working. And sometimes things happen, life happens, and we're not able to have a class. And so we'll just skip that class and pick it up at the very end of the program.
Outstanding.